What's up, guys? About 30 years ago, a humble knife company in California embarked upon an aggressive ad campaign featuring overweight white dudes on a set rejected by Ron Jeremy's agent. They stood there wielding excessively large swords and knives, chopping apart pig carcasses hanging from industrial rope. And once they were done chopping up the pig carcasses, they would turn to the industrial rope. Once done with the industrial rope, they would turn to whatever the hell else they could find. It seemed, including the set. It was as though the set company, the production company, thought the cheapest way to get rid of our set after we were done filming the film was just to get these knife guys in here to chop it up and carry it off. It was like watching a joke that ended in the punchline, "Hey dude, hold my beer and watch this."
It's okay.
You good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
You good? You sure?
Okay, keep it.
Maybe they were really after not a knife commercial, but an advertisement for the latest guild addition to the Society of Creative Anachronisms, or a casting call for World War Z 11. And then there was the founder of the Cold Steel Knife Company, Lynn Thompson. And when he would do interviews, he would pull from his person any assortment of Bowie knives and folding kukris and maces and karambits and all kinds of weapons of bladed, steel-honed destruction. He was insane. The only thing he was missing was the summoning stone for his rock golem and the talisman of Manlandia, which may still be there. And then there were the products themselves. Their catalog was filled with pages of what had to be the knife version of this guy. True gas station specials. Their showiness and bravado made it seem as though what they were really doing was hitting the midnight as seen on TV circuit in order to make a quick buck. 100 knives for $200! You can't believe the savings! Theatrics for days and no substance. A charlatan's dance. Even the knife in question we're talking about here today is a showy blaze orange. Printed on the side in bold block letters is the name of the company itself. Cold Steel. The most manly company name you could even think of. An ultimate hunter in the most intimidating 1980s font you could imagine. It is as though I am intended to stand amongst the woods and shout to them, "Try me your best, nature! Tremble before me! I am the ultimate hunter!" It was ludicrous. They couldn't possibly be serious. But the thing is, they were. It was in fact a show. It was a show of what their knives and their products were truly capable of. And Lynn Thompson's display, as ridiculous as it seemed on the surface, was in fact his genuine endorsement of what his company could do and what his products were made of. Oh, it was serious. They were serious. Their knives were serious. And they still are. See, the antics alone for the longest time were enough to keep me away from the Cold Steel Knife Company. They were just these preposterous shows of manliness, and it seemed like their products were geared towards weaponry and harm. There weren't any real tools available. And even the one other knife that I had, there's reviews available there. The Finwolf was a nice enough knife, but for my money on a woods tool, I was going to go somewhere else. It wasn't quite what I wanted. And I never went back to them until finally I decided to see, all right, they have this preposterously expensive line. Let's see what the fuss is about. I got the Ultimate Hunter. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't too long until I was overwhelmed by the beauty and the majesty of this particular tool. I had never used their knives before, and I was just filled with this loss at all of the time I had wasted on not buying their tools. I didn't believe them before, but now I do. Upon closer inspection, The S35 VN blade is given an elegant 3.5-inch swoop from the bolster that calmly suggests slicing utility, and its thickness is a robust 3.5 millimeters that, in spite of bulkiness, in a subdued voice hints at abilities that are far beyond the mere reductions of things to smaller sizes, or the removal of a dead animal's hide. Even the handle, linerless as it is comfortable and stout and grippy without being sandpaper on the palm, clearly designed with the intent of being held in multiple grips. This thing oozes utility in its intent, hearkening to legendary designs like the Kephart knife with a fawn-foot axe handle attached to it. All of this in modern, indestructible materials that folds up comfortably in your pocket. I couldn't see it before, but But enough looking. Let's see what this bad boy can do. If you want to see all that, crack open a beer and tune into Cold Steel's YouTube channel. Lord knows I've boosted my testosterone enough watching those, and plus Triad Lock. Whether they like it or not, though, the Cold Steel Company has managed to make a product that is somewhat more refined. Now, as much as I am genuinely a lover of this tool, I do have to recognize it may not be for everybody. It is big for, say, an EDC. It's a little bit large. Now, Cold Steel fans already drank the Kool-Aid. Its size doesn't matter. They make a thing like the format. They make these EDCs that are 1,000,000 miles long. For everybody else, this may be a little big and a little heavy for you. And its size alone can be one of those intimidation factors in standard mixed company. In spite of the fact that it's not this tactical looking blade, it can set some people off. And so if you're one of those socially conscious knife wielders, just something to think about. And its thickness is one of those things that could get in the way. It could be an issue because it is a rather thick and robust spine there, and so it's not necessarily the best slicer available. Those are judgments that I leave up to you, your circumstances, your knowledge, and your needs. Now, I also want to take a minute. I know I've thrown some shade at the Cold Steel Knife Company here, but the fact is their ego is as robust as their knives, and it's not something, anything I've said about them so far is not something anyone else hasn't said about them already. They can take it. They haven't changed. They're not going to change. And frankly, I don't want them to change. The zany brains that came up with those ridiculous advertisements are the zany brains that came up with this masterpiece and others. It is a competent EDC hunting survival tool and a competent slicer, stabber, prior. It can do almost anything, and it's amazing. This knife is fantastic. I love it so much. Every time I put it in my pocket, I look forward to being able to use it. And every time I use it, I look forward to being able to buy my next Cold Steel knife. The Ultimate Hunter has earned in me a dedicated customer of the Cold Steel Knife Company. And as a knife nerd, a champion of the thing they made. I stand here confident saying, if there's a Cold Steel knife that fits your needs or seems to, buy that. It's going to be everything you'll ever need. Thanks for checking out the video. If you like what we do, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, check out the Patreon page. And we have an Instagram for this land, as well as my wife and I have begun recording a podcast called the For This Land Project. Please go ahead and check that out as well. Godspeed, don't get eaten by a bear, and remember, whatever you do for this land, you do for everybody.